for something new, which is come and decorate your Samhain altar with me. And I'm mostly going to be standing tonight, so that's kind of new too. I might decide to sit down at some point and if we want to get into some juicy conversations about the history and the magic and the mystery of this incredible holiday that's coming up. But what I want to say is if you guys like this, we've talked about doing more of this and kind of continuing to build out the altar behind me, for which will stay up now. The next high holiday is Yule, which is crazy. So we're going to go from Samhain into Thanksgiving, which we traditionally don't set up an altar for that. We may do something for 11/11 because that's a big, I consider that a important celebration for all of us. So welcome in. We're delighted that you're here. It's going to be a little tricky for me. If you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at your comments. My comments are way down here and the camera's way up there, so I'll try to keep my balance today. And thank you for being here. I'm going to push my chair in because most of today, what's fun about this and what's cool about this is it's real. But it also may seem like I'm moving back and forth and turning my back on you sometimes, and it's just because I'm actually going to be decorating this altar while we go. We have a special discount code and a special enter to win for those of you who are here watching this that will run until Thursday. I believe it's code SHADOW, only starting now, because all the things I'm going to show you for the most part are goodies from sagegoddess.com. So you might see me putting something on our altar and go, oh, that's awesome. I would really love that for my collection. And then we have an enter to win, which I believe is this this incredible chrysocolla with citrine and quartz skull. Oh, actually, I'm showing you the wrong one. That is not the enter to win. The enter to win is right here, but it is the same stone. It is citrine with chrysocolla and quartz, but I showed you the wrong dude. This is your enter to win, and then Jared and Karen will let you know the details about how to enter to win. So you might say, well, Athena, I bought something yesterday or I bought something today. This is just for this event, and then we'll let it run for 48 hours. But poor Team SG, they can't go back and add things to your orders from earlier today or yesterday. It's just, they will all run screaming out of the building. So, but I mean, some of you may not have shopped yet, so it's really cool to have you, and we'll give you all the details on how to do that. Isn't he beautiful? This is from Peru. What's cool about this skull is actually the brother of this skull. And these were mined and carved in Peru by a very special friend of mine named Victor, who passed away a couple of years ago. So they have a lot of meaning to me. In fact, he's one of the ancestors that I think about when I'm decorating my Samhain altar. You know, a lot of us have ancestors who are friends, who are people that we loved as friends while they were here with us on this planet. They made the world a better place, and now they're not here with us. And so we get to honor them too as we build our ofrendas. And so altars, I want to start at the very beginning, okay, kind of teaching you a little bit. Do you remember Victor? Can you believe it's how many years it's been? He passed away right at the beginning of the pandemic, which now seems so long ago, but really wasn't, you know? It's only 3 years. So thank you. So I'm going to start teaching just a little bit, and then we'll get into what we're doing. How many of you are brand new, by the way, to Samhain, to the idea of building altars, to the idea of the third harvest? You know, we have a huge community at Sage Goddess that's been doing this work together for a long time, but there's always people who are new, like, wait, what are you talking about? What is Samhain? That's a weird word. So I kind of want to start at the beginning. You know what I mean? Just because, and even if you aren't new, maybe it's fun to hear things another time, maybe from me at a different place. I will tell you, every year I come to Samhain different. Because it's the same holiday, it's the same day, but I'm not the same. I've had a crazy couple of years. So if you're new, great. I'm going to kind of catch you up to speed if you're old like me. I started celebrating Samhain when I was 15, and I just turned 50. So I believe this is my 35th official Samhain celebration, which, that makes me a seasoned professional. But I still, I'll tell you something right now. I've been doing Sage Goddess for 12 years. I've been a practitioner since I was a teenager. If you were to ask me, like, oh, are you an expert in all of these things? I would be like, no, there's still so much to learn. Are you kidding? Most of us who do sacred work consider ourselves works in progress and people who still have a lot to learn. I accidentally almost gave away the wrong skull, but I figured it out. I'm like, wait a minute. No, that's not the one. This is the one. So let's start at the beginning. Samhain is spelled Samhain. And I remember there was a rock band and there was a song named Sow-wen, and it was kind of like heavy metal when I was like really young, and I was like, what is this? And it kind of looked kind of scary. And then I got older and I was like, do you know what Sow-wen means? It's a Gaelic word, and it actually means summer's end. Sow-wen is summer's end. So Sow-wen. Sorry, Jared, it's a little loud over here on that. I know. Jared's unwrapping goodies. But Sow-wen or Sow-wen means summer's end. It's a Gaelic word. And so this literally is, I know we all turned from fall to summer to fall technically in September, but the official end of summer is the third harvest, which is October 31st. And we all celebrate Samhain kind of from the 31st of October through October or November 1st, because then we move into what the Christians call All Saints Day and All Souls Day. So what the Christians did, and bless them, I love Christians. I was raised Christian. A lot of my ideology still errs that way. But what Christians often did with pagan traditions is they said, oh, you have this thing, well, we're going to call it this other thing. So Christians sort of took Sow-wen or Sow-wen and said, okay, now we're going to honor saints. And I like that too. And I also like honoring souls, and I like honoring ancestors, and I like honoring the departed. I think it's all part of the big mix. So I do it all. I do a little bit of summer's end ceremony, which is the third harvest. I will tell you more about this because we're going to have a proper Samhain ceremony together on November 1st at 5 p.m. on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, because then you're going to get notifications, and make sure you subscribe to our email list. You'll get all the information. So good to see you guys, by the way. You were married on Samhain? I like that. So what we do at the third harvest, it's a little bit, for me, just for me, it's a little heartbreaking. The first harvest on August 1st is when there's the maiden in us, right? And she's running around the garden, and there's still fruit on the trees, and there's still leaves and grapes on the vine, and there's still so much, everything around us is in bloom still, right? My birthday is right around August 1st. And so the maiden in us is running around, and she doesn't want to take the fruit yet because it's not ripe. So what does she do? She takes the first harvest, which is grain, and she makes bread. I did this with you live, right, in our classes. I made bread with you in my kitchen for Lammas, right around, the first half of August this year. So it's the young one in us who doesn't know better. She doesn't know what's ahead, right, in life. It's the blessing of being youthful. So she takes her grains and she makes her bread, and she says, this is the first harvest, right? But everything is still alive. And then comes September 20th, 21st, 22nd. And that's when the leaves are just starting to turn yellow, right? Just starting to turn gold. The air is turning from like moist, kind of humid, to dry. I swear I wake up every year on Mabon, which is the fall equinox, and go, it's fall. You know what I mean? Like, literally you can smell it in the air. It's like there's a crispness, a tightness to the energy. So that maiden becomes the mother at that stage, and she has to bring in all of her children. So now the grapes are ready to be harvested, and the fruits on the vine, you don't want to leave them too much longer. They'll over ripen, right? So everything is coming in. And those of you like me whose grandparents farmed for a living, my grandfather and grandmother on my dad's side grew grapes and olives, and that's how they survived. That's how they thrived. That's in our blood, right? Like, we know when the olives are ready. We know when the grapes are ready. We know what happens when we leave the olives too long and when we leave the grapes too long. So we have to like really watch and know the land. So all the good stuff comes in mid-September, and that's when the leaves get dry, and that's also our signal. Like, when those leaves aren't green and supple anymore, when they're kind of yellow and cracked, it's like, got to get everything down. Some of us leave the fruit too long on the vine. Oh, is it just me? Oh, I don't think it is. The figs that you just can't bear to pick, or you forget to pick, the ones in the back of the tree that missed your harvest, right? I've got some dried figs. I've got some dried pomegranates right now. I have a persimmon that's like about to over-ripen if I don't pick her this week. And some of us leave the fruit on the vine because we know that once we take that final fruit off, this year's harvest is over. And it's kind of like the spiritual harvest too. Like, it's like relationships, right? We leave them too long on the vine, but it's just like we can't bear to just go pluck because we know it's over. So for those of us who leave the fruit too long on the vine, till it almost turns into candy. Now, if you leave your grapes too long on the vine, do you know what happens? Anybody here a winemaker by trade? You get your late harvest, right? You make your sweet wines. And those can be very delicious too, called dessert wines, right? Because the grapes are so full of sugar at that point. And they have very low alcohol content, so they're not going to make you buzzy, but they taste like syrup almost, right? Your late harvest Viogniers, for example. So there's nothing wrong with late harvest grapes or leaving your grapes on, as long as you know you're not getting a Cabernet. you're getting a dessert wine, right? And so anyway, why I'm telling you all of this is to kind of like give you a felt sense experience. The final harvest is the harvest of the dead. It's the harvest of the stuff you can't eat now. The relationship that isn't gonna be revived, right? It's the acknowledgement that it's over, and it's really hard for a lot of us at the third harvest to go oof, right? But it's also, listen to this, it's unkind to your trees to leave dead fruit on them, because what happens, let's learn about trees. What happens if you leave dead fruit on your trees is your tree still tries to send energy to it, because the tree is like, well, clear, you know what I mean, like revive, and that fruit knows, and that tree knows it's not going anywhere. But meanwhile, that tree is not deepening its root base. It's not preparing itself for winter. So you're not giving that tree a chance to go, okay, now it's time for me to push down, not sprout up, right? That'll be spring. And so you're not giving your tree a chance to rest. This is traditional agricultural studies, right? Welcome to it. So Samhain says, all right, I'm going to take all the dead fruit off my trees. I am going to acknowledge what's dead and what's still alive. I'm going to let the dead be with the dead, and I'm going to honor them there rather than trying to revive things that aren't even breathing anymore. If this was church, I would say, can I get an amen? Or just yeah, you and me both. So anyway, for those of us who struggle with the third harvest, it's not my favorite. I reluctantly go out and have you ever pulled dead fruit off a tree? Do you know what it's like? You gotta twist and pull and twist and pull, because it's even the fruit is like, come on, give me a chance. It's true. It's everything. There's a season for all things, right? And it's like Samhain is the season of the dead, and no matter how many 6 ways we try to look at it some other way, this is the final harvest. So everything that you tried, let's just be really good to ourselves in this moment. You tried. You fertilized it, you loved it, you tended it, you talked to it, you blew on it, you put all the good shit under it, and it didn't work. and it needs to be let go. In fact, it needs to be returned to the earth in the form of a mulch or a compost so that it can actually nourish those new roots that need to go down and produce something else for you. And the something else, right, that's going to be produced has its own beauty. So I wanted to say all of this to you before adorning this space, because we have to know what this space represents. This isn't just like Halloween and, you know, you go to Michael's and you get a skull and you do and you play, you know, your Halloween playlist on, you know, Prime or whatever. This is a really intense moment of acknowledgement, ceremony, connection, awareness, power, right? And also appreciation. Bless those fruits that did not thrive, right? And bless me for trying to keep them alive. Can I say it again? Bless those fruits that did not thrive, and bless me for trying to keep them alive. And together we say, Amen, aho, and so it is. I have a cup of, hope you brewed something. I have a cup of mullein and matcha, which is I'm trying to, mullein is, I want to open my third eye and see what needs to be seen. And matcha is, it's 4:30 and I'm getting older and I need a little pick-me-up in the afternoon. Bless me. Bless them. Aho. Okay, so I need to burn something now. There's going to be sometimes when I talk to you, sometimes when I look at the feed and answer questions, and sometimes when I'm just busy decorating, and this is not like a traditional class. And that's why I was telling you, like, you may like this or not like this. I hope you're busy setting up your own space. I hope I just inspired you to go brew some tea. I hope now you're running around going, oh, I should probably burn something too. I imagine you in your own space just being kind of busy right now. So, and you've got me in the background. Maybe you're cooking dinner, you know, 7:30, having a glass of wine, whatever you're doing. But bless us all. It's really true, Jackie Holla. Like, we did the best we could with what we had, where we were, and how much we knew. And now, at some point, you don't want to be one of those people who just looks around life holding a basket of dead fruit. You also don't want to drink matcha too young or too early in the day, because it's kind of like, for me, matcha is like speed. I can't. If I drink all of that real quick, I'm going to be up all night, and that's not my goal either. Okay. So I want to talk to you about altar creation and altar basics, because we do have some newbies, right? So glad to have you guys here. Karen's here too, by the way, and so is Jared. So they will be answering questions that you have in the feed. So if you have direct questions, and as I show you things, they're probably going to put links to them. And then, hey, Karen and Jared, can you just clarify what they have to do to enter to win that skull, and what the code is and how long it lasts? I'm pretty sure the code is Shadow for 24% off until the end of the day tomorrow. Especially I think to the section of all the tools where these are. So they will be giving you that information in the feed so that I can focus on what I'm doing. Okay. So when we have an altar, I'm a big fan, by the way, of creating height. Okay. Any interior designer that you work with, by the way, I am not an interior designer, but I know a lot about it because it's kind of a hobby, but I'm not like a licensed interior designer. But the one thing I know about interior design is you want to have something that isn't just all one level. So we have things called risers. Now I want you to get creative. Ready? Because this is like a fancy dancy riser. It's actually a proper teak altar from Indonesia. Not everybody has stuff like that. But I will tell you, do you know what else you can do? Do you have a shoebox? Do you have an Amazon delivery that came today in a box about that big? Don't throw your Amazon boxes away. Don't throw your Sage Goddess boxes away. Tape them up. get out an old dress that you don't wear anymore, something purple or blue or red or black, which are all the colors of the season. Cut that dress up. You know you're not going to wear it anymore. Or get a piece of fabric out of your sewing kit and put that box together. If you want it to be really steady and stable, put some sand or some dirt or some rocks in it. Tape it up and throw fabric over it. You've got a riser. They do it in department stores, so you do not need fancy Nancy risers. You've got stuff in your collection already. I'm gonna just change the music a little bit because it got a little disco in here, and I just want to shift the vibe. So hold on. Just want to bring it down just a little bit. My playlists on SoundCloud go from like do 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 do, and I have to monitor it. Okay, so now you have, if you get a box and you put some fabric over it, now you have a riser. Okay, I'm just leaving mine the way it is. This is an old belly dance scarf that I had that I gave the team. I was like, oh, that'd be a really pretty altar cloth for Samhain. Again, I like the colors purple, blue, red, black. You can be kind of Martha Stewart about it and make sure all the tassels are perfect. I'll fix that later, but you kind of get the idea, right? Now, there are 4 elements that you have to consider when you are setting up an altar of any kind, okay? Earth, air, fire, and water. And it's really nice if they can all be present. There's 1,000 ways to do this, and I want to inspire you again. Think outside the box. Water can be your sacred perfumes. Obviously, we've got some perfumes happening with the next Samhain kit that are going to be an obvious part of my altar setup here, right? If you don't have the Samhain tools, they sold out very quickly. If you have another perfume that you're working with for the season, some of you love Morgana, which we have. That's a great shadow season blend. It's all these iterations, these faces of vetiver and jasmine. Vetiver grows in different parts of the world, and everywhere it grows, it smells different. They call it rukous in India. And Indian rukous smells very different from Egyptian vetiver. It's the root of the vetiver plant, so it's very earthy and grounding. And then jasmine, there's jasmine grandiflorum, right? There's night blooming, day blooming. They smell different too. Depending on where jasmine comes from, it smells different. There's star jasmine that has a totally different, almost a fruity note to it as opposed to like the really thick Arabian jasmine, and I grow them both in my backyard. If you walk by each one, you almost wouldn't think they're the same flower. So this has all the vetiver and all the jasmine in it from all the different countries, which is why Morgana doesn't smell like anything you've ever smelled like before. And the rukous is more like the Indian vetiver is more earthy. It's kind of syrupy. It's very thick. It's viscous, and it's sweet. It's not as like barren earth as the rest of the vetivers in the world. Hecate would be great. Lilith would also be great. So, so anything that's not in a section, most of the things I'm showing you are in the section where you can use code SHADOW to save. But if you're getting something from the rest of the website, your code is POTION. What fun codes for today, by the way, right? These are very Samhain-y type of sale codes too. So Morgana is very interesting. Morgana has this whole story. Since we have time, it's fun to do this slow and like tell you the stories. So I was blending Morgana in San Francisco, which is where Sage Goddess was born in San Diego, but then she moved to San Francisco, and then she moved back to LA. I want to say 2013, 2014. So we're up in the Bay Area, and I only had like 2 or 3 employees at the time. And I'm blending Morgana. And every once in a while, one of my employees would come around and go, oh, what are you blending? And I remember going, oh, Morgana. And she's like, who's Morgana? And I'm like, think of like Morgan Le Fay, right? Like she's a wizard priestess, right? Very much from the Avalon tradition, but she holds light and shadow in her practice. She's a shapeshifter. She shapeshifts into a crow. And she was like, well, this is interesting. So she's like, well, when it's done, can I smell it? I was like, sure. And there have only been a few perfumes like this. If you've been around for a long time, there's been a few like this, not all of them. So I tried adding other things to Morgana, and no matter what I added, it would not change. So finally I stopped. I was like, this perfume made itself, and it doesn't want to smell any other way. honestly, even today, no matter what we do, it will not smell another way. So I came out of my little room where I was blending, and she goes, "Can I try it?" And so she took it into the bathroom. Meanwhile, keep in mind, like our whole office in the Bay Area was the size of my office here in Carson. We were just in a very small space together. Sweet days, though. Some of you came and visited us up there, so you remember. So she goes into the bathroom with Morgana. She's in there for a few minutes. Her name was Holly, and she came out, and she goes, "What is that?" And I was like, "You were warned. It's Morgana. She's a shapeshifter." And she's like, "What happened to me in there?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, "I don't know." I mean, you go put on a perfume called Morgana and you know what it is. And then you go, "What happened to me in there?" And I'm like, "I don't know what happened to you in there." I wasn't in the bathroom with you, Holly. So anyway, that's my favorite story about Morgana. And to this day, when I put it on, my spine straightens out a little bit. And I don't know. I shapeshift into something a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more, what is crow, right? Like a little more seeing from all sides, right? It's a powerful potion. So we'll never stop making it as long as we have the ingredients. But I remember her just going, "What was that?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Wait, I do know. So that's Morgana. Might be kind of fun to even think about anointing some of your tools with Morgana too. So I have some things laid out here, but before I do anything else, in our upcoming Scorpio New Moon kit, we are making black salt. You saw this, right? That smells so good. I mean, we're making it with like flowers and herbs and stuff. This is the final product. How many of you got your Scorpio New Moon kit for next month? I hope you did. Black salt is very protective, and I call it ground cover, okay? Sometimes people gift me black salt. This is my friend Liran from Tel Aviv, who's one of my really close girlfriends in real life. She gave me her black salt, so I'm going to put a little bit of her black salt into my black salt just so I kind of hold the space. Because she and her family are in an interesting part of the world right now, so we are definitely holding the space for her too. And the reason I call black salt ground cover, and I don't like to mix with spoons and shit, I use my hands. Did you get it? Yeah, it'll come to you soon. Now you're going to see why you need this. Okay. For Sow-wen and for the it smells so good. For Sow-wen and some of the heavier holidays when we're really inviting in the ancestors and all the spirits are around, you can do this any way you want, but what I do is a pinch in each of the 4 directions, okay? And what I do is I find east, so Pacific Ocean's right there, which means east is here in my office. Okay, so I'm going to put a pinch to the east. And again, this is ground cover, so we're just laying a foundation and some groundwork for protection for our sacred space. We're opening a circle, basically. Well, thank you. Okay. And so I bless the direction of east on this altar, asking that only energies in service of the highest good of me, myself, everyone in this office, and all who will see this altar online are allowed to enter our space. And so it is. And then I'm going to put a little bit, this is north, so I'm going to go to the south next. I'm opening a circle. Put a little bit behind the altar and then on top of the altar. I bless this altar in the south for transformation, courage, shape-shifting, snake medicine, right? Like shedding skin, so that only energies, again, in service of the highest good of me, my entire team here in the building, and everyone who will see these rituals online are allowed to be in our space. Now I look to the west, okay? And I scatter to the west. And with this black salt in the west, I welcome in those energies of renewal, purification, cleansing, healing, and again, that only spirits in service of all of those things will be here and able to occupy the space for all of us together. And then in the north, the black salt governs the energy of the north. It's fruity. It's salty. Bringing in all the grandparently energy, also stability, patience, protection, all the things that we associate with the north to protect the space. Amen, aho, and so it is. Okay, so that is how I choose to work with my black salt. Also, when I'm making little floral arrangements, like I'm about to do now, because I'm going to start working with the element of water, I will put just a tiny pinch. You're not trying to put too much, just to bless the water for the flowers that will enter. Now, this is kind of a basic vase. We've already started adding elements of earth because we have the herbs, right? Herbs represent the element of earth. Salt is very much of the earth. Stones are of the earth too. We're about to put some flowers in our vase or a vase, depending on how you name it. It's great if you can put a stone in your vase. I have two here because I didn't know which one would fit. These are sort of natural sighted smoky quartz generators, and it may not fit. Oh, it will fit. It's nice to mix the elements. So stone, earth, water, right? Water. And then the flowers themselves will represent also earth because they come from the earth itself. So we've started to center the edges of our altar. We did clear the energy of the room, but I'm also going to just come through over the altar and just dedicate it by using my selenite wand just to open a really perfect circle. You can also use your selenite wand to touch the four directions, so touching, 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 and touching to mark the four directions. If you choose, you can leave your selenite wand there in front. It becomes kind of a guardian of the gate, if you will, but you don't have to do that. Okay. Now, I'm going to choose to leave a little stone bowl with some white sage here too, just so that anytime I want to come through and cleanse the energy of the altar, I don't have to go to my main smudging tools, which are right here. I can just have something at the ready. So if you have an extra white sage bundle, that's just a little stone bowl. I think it's agate, if I'm recalling correctly, or obsidian. You can use that and keep that there too. Okay, now I love having stones in my vase for stability purposes, first of all, especially if the flowers get heavy, but also to represent the element of earth. And smoky quartz absorbs all negative energy in its vicinity, and it looks beautiful too. It almost magnifies the piece of smoky, right? Okay, so flowers, of course, have their own energies to them too. I'm going to go very simple with this particular arrangement. We have a lot of options here, which I love that Team SG gave me options. As we cut our flowers, especially for ceremonial purposes, we blow on them, but do not wait long. Get them right into the water. In fact, only wait a second or two, because they immediately start to soak up the water. You do not want to leave flowers outside of water. I was always taught for more than 3 seconds. Taught that by a florist. And you have to, I like to put them in and then I arrange them a little bit more afterward when I'm done. So cut, bless, and place. Cut, bless, and place. You can think about individual people and ancestors too. The name Rose has a lot of meaning in my lineage. My grandmother's middle name was Roselle, and that's the reason my daughter's middle name is Rose. So you can be thinking about important ancestors in your life, and again, you can continue to cut to make them all sort of even as you go. To your liking. And then I am picky about flowers when I'm arranging, and I clean up afterward. I don't clean as I go. And then I have marigolds, which are very traditional for honoring our ancestors. So as I place the marigolds, This one is for my mother, Marie. This one is for my grandmother, Pearl. This one is for my grandmother, Fotini, biggest wisdom keepers in my lineage by far. This one is for my aunt, Joyce, in whose name I do a lot. And so I kind of love that. It's simple. Again, I love the number 4, north, south, east, west, also builds a foundation. And then I've got 4 marigolds for the 4 major matriarchs in my family lineage, which I love too. I've also been energetically just really connected to my grandfather, my dad's father recently, Christophoros. Been telling his stories a lot, so this is for Christophoros and your bravery, without which none of us would be here in my family. And that feels good. So the flowers are there. Okay, so, and just clean as you go. Don't sweep off your salt. Clean as you go. You can clean your floor later. That's not important right now. Now, we want to consecrate the space with our herbs. This is why we've been bringing you the herbal wine. And I want to talk to you about the herbs specifically that we're working with tonight and their metaphysical properties. So, if you have an incense burner of some kind with charcoal, I'm going to, and thank you so much for all of your sweet comments too. It's so nice to have you here. I'm going to light my charcoal disc. And when you light charcoal, you want it to kind of spit at you and hiss at you. You also want a good lighter that doesn't poop out on you too. And go all the way around the edges. You'll know it's ready when there's little red flickers and hissing all over the disc. And you want to really get it lit because otherwise your herbs aren't going to burn properly. So get her lit, honey. Are you lit, darling? I think she's lit. No, she looks pretty lit to me. We learn as we go when our girl is lit. Okay. Now, once you're, get your incense burner where you want it to be, because it gets hot. You don't want to be moving this puppy around, and you don't necessarily want the smoke going directly into your flowers. I will say for this moment, I actually think I kind of want to bring my floral arrangement up a little higher. I might choose to keep my flowers here, like that. What do you think of that? It's pretty, right? And that's kind of nice. You can choose to move things around as you go. And again, keeping a nice, we had both of these for you kind of a long time ago. I don't know if we have them anymore, but I love the crescent moon wand holder, and then just a big old raw piece of selenite. Selenite is the gatekeeper too. It keeps all the energy pure and clear. Right? You're using the same incense burner? Kiko, I love that. Birds of a feather, darling. Now, can you guess what I'm keeping space for here in the center? If you guessed the king of the underworld, you were so correct. So, star of the show. It would not be a Sage Goddess Samhain altar without our beloved Hades and Persephone, right? Okay. So, now that my charcoal is lit, see how gray she is? She's gray. We're going to go through our herbs, and I want to go through them one by one. I mentioned I put a little mullein in my tea. Mullein means to set ablaze in ancient Greek, and it's Hecate's torch. This is what illuminates your journey from the world of the living to the world of the dead. So, blessings to us as we light the torch of wisdom. And if you inhale that, it'll open your third eye. So put your face in. I mean, look. And then your little spoon goes in there. I'm not doing a good job of it right now, but it sticks back in there. Now, holy basil is in our herbal collection. And by the way, these are in stock right now, but they sell out all the time. These are $9 a jar, and then they're 24% off. So if you wanted to build your little herbal apothecary, I would do that now. Do you know about Tulsi, holy basil? I drink it all the time as a tea. Do you know what the legend is? Wherever you grow, I have it in the entryway to my house. Wherever you grow or have holy basil, in the Hindu tradition, all the gods and goddesses are present. It like calls them. It's a summoner, right? So, yes, my incense burner is in the east, and my perfumes are in the west, because air is east and perfumes are west. I'm going to put my grid in the north, and then I just need a little fire source toward the south, which I'm going to address by keeping my candle back here. My candles back here, but and I haven't lit them yet, but I'll show you. Just don't want them too close to the wall. Okay. So let's call in all of the gods and goddesses. Did you know that? You should always plant Tulsi near the entrance to your home. It's really easy to grow. If you can grow rosemary and you can grow lavender, you can grow Tulsi. By the way, you can put your little spoon on the back side of it too. So if you don't want to like fuss budget with it, putting it in the handle there, it can go on either side. Okay, but that way it keeps the opener open. Now hyssop. The reason hyssop is in our herbal collection, and I've told you this story too, but I have a friend who gave me such a hard time for not having hyssop at Sage Goddess. You heard this story, right? She was like, can we just talk about the fact that you don't have hyssop? And I was like, I know. And she's like, no, but like in every spiritual tradition, right down to Christianity, hyssop is what you use to clear spaces. Like hyssop is like white sage's grandma. Like how do you have white sage and you don't have hyssop? And I was like, listen, now I do. So yeah. What was I using to open your third eye? Mullein. Mullein. And then I'm using hyssop as if we haven't done enough clearing, right? I burned white sage. I laid the black salt foundation. I used the selenite, right? I mean, I've done it all today. But it's sort of like those people who clean their floor 4 times with 4 different things. I'm not calling you out, but you know those people. Yeah. It's Samhain. Calendula is an offering to the dead. Now I'm going to teach you a party trick. It's my party trick. Nobody ever taught me, but whatever. It's what I do. Once my herbs are done burning, I clean my cooktop. It reignites the charcoal. So I get the dead stuff off. And look. Did you see that? Let's see how hot it is. Yeah, I can show you. It's awfully hot. Clean it off. You can see good enough. Now, calendula, your marigolds, are offerings to the ancestors, to whom we are incredibly grateful for their wisdom and their magic. Did you see how that burned better because I cleared the dead stuff off? Yeah. Yeah, take your Tulsi tea out of a bag and burn it. A lot of people are collecting our herbal jars because they look cute and they're building a little shelf, which I think is neat. But if you have your own stuff, that's okay too. I mean, I don't have enough of these for everybody, so use what you have. And then the last one, you use at your own risk. Damiana. You know what Damiana is? It's an aphrodisiac. Yeah, baby. Sorry, ancestors. I'm gonna clear you off. Get my own party started. It really is an aphrodisiac. So those are the ones that we have in stock right now at sagegoddess.com, and then you can put the little lid on and look how cute the smoke comes through the holes and puts on a little show for you. And that's how you burn herbs. And you can alchemize, right? You can go, I want to open my third eye and hit it. Good. Mulane and Damiana. I want to really protect my space and call in the ancestors. Great. Hyssop and calendula, right? So it's like you can kind of, and I would do a little Tulsi there too, because why not? Tulsi should be a daily burn, right? So it's a daily burn. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking in terms of herbs for today. Then you have your white sage, which you can also, a really nice conservative way, by the way, if you're new to burn white sage, instead of burning the bundle, is to take your bundle apart a little bit, pull off one leaf, just like that, one little leaf. Look how far that goes on a charcoal disc. Give it a second. It's enough. You see it? You don't need to burn a whole bundle. In fact, it's really nice to be conservative with our herbal resources, but do you see it? That's a good amount of smoke coming off one little leaf of white sage. And it wasn't even a whole leaf. It was like a chip of a leaf, right? So, yeah. It's just more conservative than just torching a bundle, because we don't really need to do that. It's quality, not quantity, necessarily sometimes. I'm going to pause for a second. Are there any questions? Because I'm going to keep going. We're not done by any stretch, but I wanted to see if you had any questions right now about what we've done, or why'd you do that, or where'd you put that? Or just chime in and say hi. It's nice to have you. We're always happy that you're here. Yeah. All the herbs sold out? Well, that is a boo-hoo. Jared and Karen, will you let Rosalind know? They were there earlier, so maybe there's a hiccup, or everybody went to the website too fast. Let me see. Mullein is a great expectorant and decongestant. Well, a lot of these are medicines, right? Charcoal, I don't think we have for you at Sage Goddess. Do you know about the herbs? They were just saying all the herbs are sold out. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we have charcoal on sagegoddess.com, but you usually can find it on Amazon. So that might be a thing for you to consider. Yeah, catmint is nice. I mean, look, I've never met an herb I didn't like. I love blue lotus. There's more coming to that collection, by the way. Athena Mac is giving us some fun recipes in the feed too, which I love. Yeah, you shouldn't have received an empty bottle. So something went wrong there, Diane. Please let Karen know, and she will solve that dilemma for you. Okay. Actually, I'm all right. I've got it. Yeah, I'm good. Yep. Let's see. Is it a teeny tiny charcoal? They're kind of like an average sized charcoal disc. Yeah, I would say average sized. Yeah. Blue lotus is yummy. Oh, the herbs are still there under the Samhain category. Yeah, so Karen will link to the Samhain category for you. And then again, remember, your code is Shadow for 24% off anything in that category today. And that's only for you guys while you're here, which is kind of fun. You don't have to shop, but if you do shop the category, you get 24% off, which I think is really cool. Yeah, and you can still enter to win, so Karen will put the instructions up. Let me know, Karen, too, if there's a code word they're supposed to put in their order, or if it's just any order from the category enters them to win. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm glad you're here. I will be no, this weekend is not too late to set up an altar. Samhain is not until October 31st. So that's why I was coming to you live today. I'm like, this is kind of the perfect opportunity to do it, right? We just came through that eclipse portal, so the energy for me feels very refreshed. So I think this is a perfect time to do it now that we've got a waxing moon, right? It's a great time to, and also to look around your collection and get inspired. There might be things on your altar, maybe I'm inspiring you today, that you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that, or gosh, do I have fresh flowers? Make the process of like, either gathering flowers from your garden if you still have things blooming, or going and shopping for flowers, make that part of your ceremony too. You know what I mean? And you can also work a little color magic there. So red, of course, is root chakra. It's very stabilizing, very grounding, also brings in like passion. And then gold is your solar plexus, right? So that's about empowerment and strength and willpower. So you can also really be thoughtful in terms of like the color magic of the different flower choices that you make too. I just think that's a beautiful concept. Yeah, and you can break your charcoal in half. I tend to, if I'm doing it, I'm doing it. I mean, what a surprise. But I tend to, I'm also adding this is our Memoriam skull candle, and I love it. I've been waiting to burn it. Memoriam is our original ancestral blend at Sage Goddess. It's got a black tourmaline stone in it, and it's in this super fun skull glass that you can keep afterward. Isn't that cool? It's called Ofrenda. And that's in our Samhain category. So that's going to be my third candle. I've got 3 candles over here. So let me explain to you why I love beeswax candles and how to use them. This is something, what's fun about tonight is I'm showing you some things that I haven't shown you in a really long time, but are just like important things for you to know when you're working with your metaphysical tools. Beeswax candles. Our sheets of beeswax are custom dyed for us at Sage Goddess, the colors. Beeswax is super sacred, right? Bees create beeswax, right? Bees see through hexagons. Hexagons represent divine order, as above, so below, principles of creation, okay? So these sheets of beeswax, we roll our candles in-house. We create our own art for the labels. We pour them with our own oils, which is Memoriam for ancestral connection. And then there's always a blessing on the front. What you want to do is burn it on a heat-proof surface. But then you go, well, how do I do that without it falling over? On the bottom of your candles is the other side of the wick, okay? So what you want to do is you want to go get your heat-proof surface, light the bottom of the candle, drip some of the wax onto the surface. Can you see this? Drip, 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 drip. And then while the wax is still melty, sit the candle down. That is going to affix your candle to the surface so it doesn't flip over. And then literally, once it's dry, the candle and the base become one. And then what's another little cool party trick, this is why your black salt is so important. What do I do with mine? Things I like to do. Take some of your black salt and going clockwise, just make a nice rim around the border underneath. And then you can also add crystals there too. Whatever you have that you might want to use. You might have a little, this is a little rubellite in spinel matrix, which is really good for manifestation, spirit contact. A little, oh, that's a beautiful little piece of selenite actually to keep the energy clear. And then look at that. Right, you can see the black salt in the bottom, and it takes a basic beeswax candle, and then when our beeswax candles burn, the wax drips down the side, and that looks super magical when you're done. And again, the black salt is coming as part of your upcoming new moon in Scorpio kit. So if you didn't get that kit already, we're going to be making that herbal black salt together. So it just kind of gives you a preview of like, why is that important, or like what are the ways you would work with black salt. We've shown you 2 different techniques tonight to set up your altar, and why black salt is so important. Okay. Let's see. I'm just seeing if you have any questions. Yeah, the class on making black salt is the upcoming new moon in Scorpio. So, and the kit is at sagegoddess.com. It'd be cool actually to put the kit into the Samhain category if Team SG can. I know they're working hard behind the scenes right now, but that might be kind of fun. Yeah. Okay. Double check the category before you worry about things being sold out, because it might look like it's sold out, but it's in the category kind of thing. So just double check that. Everything that I'm showing you tonight is in a special Samhain section on the website, and it's all 24% off with code SHADOW. Oh, the kit's sold out. Well, poops. Maybe we can bring you a black salt making kit. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. Now we get to the fun part, which is the decor part. And I keep looking, Karen, you probably told me 10 times, but how do they enter to win my skull? This is if you shop in our Samhain category. This is a clear quartz citrine and chrysocolla skull, hand carved in Peru by my friend Victor from eons ago. And it's a partner to a personal piece in my collection. Wouldn't that be gorgeous? Can you imagine that on your Samhain altar? So I'll just put him there so you can gaze upon his majesty. Now, if you got the grid, if you got the Samhain kit for next month, then you got the ingredients to make our Forbidden Desire incense, which I will put over here because that's going to be an herbal blend. And you got your box. I know all of this is sold out, so I don't want to tease you too much with it, but that did sell out. And you do want to make space somewhere on your Samhain altar to place your treasure box. So we'll just kind of put that right here for now. Okay. We did offer a wand for Persephone. So I'm going to place that wand here. This is the smoky quartz with the red aura quartz and all the beautiful gems. Isn't that beautiful? We left the little glue tip on there so that yours don't arrive like chippy chipped. And I'm going to sit that right there. Now, the centerpiece of the grid, aura tourmalinated quartz. I'm going to set it up but not activate it because activating it is part of our Samhain ceremony. So this is the bonus little grid that we did for those of you who were not able to get your original Samhain kit. Now, let me make sure I'm telling you all of I'm pulling up my sheet about the wands, by the way, are like under $40. But I just want to pull up the grid sheet really quick, so bear with me for a second. That black jade bowl is $60 before you're 24% off, by the way, which is a cool one. I do recommend it. And actually, I don't think I have the sheet, Jared, for the Persephone grid. So when you have a second, if you can bring that up, and then I will set up the grid with everybody who's here. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about a few more things. Now, you likely have other stones and tools that you want to incorporate into your altar. So what I recommend is that you, at this point in your decorating process, take a step back, okay, and go, okay, do I have all of the elements represented? Okay, do I have air? Yes. Do I have water? Yes. And I also have perfume. Do I have earth represented? I do. I've got some stone elements. I'm setting up my grid, right? I've got stone here. Do I have fire? Yes, I do. I have my candle set up. Is everything, relatively speaking, aligned to the appropriate directions? It is. I'm loving crow here, but I just want to kind of experiment for a moment with putting my treasure box there instead. It might just look more balanced. What do you think? And my candle is only crooked because it's sitting on a sequined cover. There we go. Are you seeing the balance? Now again, 10 different people could put this same altar together and it would look different because it's 10 different perspectives, 10 different intentions, 10 different like ways of seeing the world. What I like to do once I have the whole thing set up is I like to start to work in pairs if you have additional tools. Now, here's something fun, right? We had these eons ago. I'm not saying this is exactly what I'm going to go for, but like if you want to overdo it, I do have these. These were like resin hands with the smoky quartz spheres. And then take a step back and look. Do I like that? I have to tell you, it's not for me. It's a little too much. It takes away from my flowers. Now, what I could do is I could leave them here at the base. It does pick up the purple in the altar cloth. And that could be cool. Right? If you have other generators that you want to use, I don't know that I have two that are exactly the same size, unfortunately. But let's say you did. Let's say you had a pair of generators, two big smoky quartz that were the same size. That might be really nice to do for the energy and for balance. Even if they weren't exactly the same size. I do like them to be a little bit closer in size than what I have right here right now. So I probably won't choose to do that, but you could choose to add some larger generators to it. If you have two skulls that are about the same size, you could choose to do that too. There's something about the simplicity of the flowers and the selenite that I'm just appreciating. But I'm decorating this with you in real time so that you can kind of see my process. I didn't sit here and go, oh, I'm wham bam, like here's the things I'm going to use in exactly the order I'm going to do it, right? Some of you have collected, this might be cool, these Herkimer diamond crows with the gemstone skulls, or the crowns. I'm just going to see how that looks, because crow is definitely Samhain medicine. We talked about that earlier, kind of like the messenger of sacred wisdom. And I do have a pair of those, and they're a little different, but they don't crowd the flowers the same way that I felt like that actually feels quite nice. Do you like that? I'm kind of feeling that right now. And then you can just take a step back and look and go, that kind of works. I think I'm good on the herbal side. I do kind of like having all of the herbs there. I think I'm good. I do love, I'm going to tell you consistently for me in altar decor, and don't tell me you don't have a wand, because if you don't have a wand, you need to immediately fix that problem. I have 9,000 different wands at sagegoddess.com, so at all points and price points and options. But I do always like to put a wand in front of my grid. If I've got a grid set up, first of all, I think it looks pretty. It kind of anchors the edge of the space, you know what I mean? So I don't like the feeling that like the altar stops here and there's nothing kind of demarking the space. And then when I'm ready to activate my grid, I have the tool necessary to do it, and it's sitting right there. Does that make sense? Or you can make one, but you gotta have one. I mean, solve this problem with me today. I do love this one. I know it's a little whimsical, but I think it's so beautiful. Isn't it pretty? I mean, because it's real stone. That's red aura up here and smoky quartz. And I know we still have those available. So fix your wand problem, honey. Let me help you. Okay. The other thing I was going to tell you about that we do still have left too, this was a really fun DIY oracle deck. Did you see this? That comes with the gemstone pen. So the idea is Team SG designed, and big kudos to Sophia and to Bruce, really, who were the brainchildren behind this deck. Team SG designed this beautiful art that looks like a spinal column in your bones, right? But it also looks like a cat. And then most of them are blank so that you can write your own intentions on your deck. or your mantras or whatever, and then keep them and do readings. And if you have a stand, I don't have one right here, but I have one on the other side of my office. I'll be right back. I'm going to show you. I'm not trying to tease you. I don't know that we have any of these left. I thought this was the coolest thing. It's like a deck stand, but it has gemstones on it, and it's gold. But you could put that. I consider oracle decks to be the element of air or spirit. So you could set your cards up on a little platform like that, or you can just choose to lay them on your altar too. And then the other option you have is to wrap them up in a little silk cloth and leave them there, which is beautiful too. So that's another option. And yeah, Jared, I'm just standing by for the just a quick list of the stone for the Persephone and Hades grid, because I don't want to, I think I know which ones they are, but I don't want to misrepresent, and I also want to make sure if we still have those in stock too. Okay, so the oracle cards are really fun. So one of them comes printed for you, and it says, I honor the goddess of spring and queen of the underworld within me and my desire to balance my power between light and shadow, which is my quote. But then the rest of them are blank for you to write your own intentions. They were in stock yesterday? Okay. It's one of my favorite grids that we've done, and a lot of you agreed. You thought the grid was really beautiful. I found it breathtaking. I find it breathtaking. And there's something about, one of my favorite things about the grid is very simple. I'm going to add my own because I have fresh still on my tree. We actually put little hibiscus blossoms, because or pomegranate blossoms, because that's how Hades got Persephone to come and stay in the underworld, is he offered her seeds of the pomegranate and she ate 6 of them. So that's how many months she had to spend in the underworld before she could return to Earth and her mother and bring spring back to the planet. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, more generators. And then I just need the list of stones for the grid. Yeah. Okay, so all you have to do to enter to win this skull, by the way, is make a purchase at sagegoddess.com before midnight tomorrow, that's the 18th, and enter the word skull in your notes. And that's only for purchases beginning tonight through midnight tomorrow. And again, your code for 24% off the Samhain section is shadow. Okay, so while I'm waiting for Jared, do you have questions? The website's not acting right. That naughty website. Sometimes when y'all go there, it does make it twerk a little bit. Yeah, and it's funny because speaking of late harvests, nothing in my garden, did this happen to you this year? I think it's because we had heavy rain here in Southern California this last year and the year before too. But nothing in my garden was like timed right this year. Everything bloomed late. And so my pomegranate tree still has flowers on it, which is a little bit like, no, I'm not ready for you yet. And I don't have the heart to take them off. They're so beautiful. Like the way pomegranate flowers, they open, you know what I mean? And there's like all the little petals at the top, and they're bright, vibrant, like lipstick red. I'll have to go live and show you because the tree's covered. So I think I'm going to dry them. I think I'm just going to pick them and dry them. And because it's so dry right now, there's no humidity here, so it'd be the perfect conditions to just let them sit out in the shade but warmth and dry out. So yeah. Yeah, the altars in Mexico for the Days of the Dead are magnificent, aren't they? Alba Huerta, who is our guest speaker on Monday, she's coming to teach you about mixology. She's one of the world's most famous bartenders. We're so lucky she's coming and teaching us about cocktails and mocktails to honor your ancestors. That's Monday afternoon at noon Pacific time, before her bar opens. She owns Julep in Houston, but she's actually going to Mexico for the celebrations either right before she gets here or right after she leaves. And I was like, put me in your suitcase. Yeah, I'll have to show you. I'll have to go live and show you the pomegranate tree. It's just so beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so let's set up the altar. Let's set up the grid, I should say. Matcha time. What are you guys drinking tonight? Did you make tea? Huh? I just made rose water. My rose tree is still blooming too. It's so crazy. Okay. So the stones are for Hades, because there's 3 stones for Persephone and 3 stones for Hades. For Hades, there is zircon, obsidian, and numite. So on his side, which is this side of the grid, and if you're just joining us a little bit after, welcome. This is the grid for our Samhain ceremony coming up on November 1st, is when we are celebrating, because a lot of you are with your younger ones on Halloween, or you have your own ceremonies, so we celebrate on the 1st, which is still very appropriate. Okay, you made chamomile. Look at how much chamomile you guys made. You trying to fall asleep? I'm over here like, chamomile puts me to sleep. Okay, so there's 3 stones for the Hades side, and it literally is just, you can put them wherever you want. 1 at the top, 1 at the side, and 1 at the bottom. Again, during ceremony, I would kind of offset them, because you've got 3 for Persephone too. During the ceremony, we'll go through all of those. And then for Persephone, we have almandine garnet, angel aura, flower agate. In a perfect world, I would have a camera over this to show you, but you can see, I think, fairly well. And then your generator in the middle, right? And then we gave you 2 little magnetites for attraction to represent how they attracted each other. So we'll put 1 of those at the top of her crown and 1 of the jewel at her neck. And then, and again, if you ordered this already, this is coming. If you haven't ordered yours, order it. It's 24% off with code SHADOW. Cacao is a good call for tonight. I like that. Ginger tea sounds very lovely too. 4 quartz points at the north, the south, the east, and the west. Again, anchoring and holding all the directions. And then my flowers got a little bit torn apart. I'll have to add 1 afterward. Maybe I can break this one in half. I don't want to hurt it. Yeah, I broke it in half. That's fine. Okay, so just at the 4 corners, wherever you want to put them, your little pomegranate flowers. Isn't it a beautiful touch to have the natural flowers there? I love adding flowers and life and greenery to the altar spaces, and I'll tell you why not, since I had some extra roses. You know this trick, right? You have your rose, you hold it by the base, and you just kind of shake it loose, and then you'll have all your petals, right? And you get your little hit too. Isn't that beautiful? She's shaped like a star. I never throw that away. I always work that into my decoration too. So I think it's beautiful. And then you have your petals. So we can add rose petals at the 4 edges of our grid, which I think is really beautiful. Roses again represent love, passion, commitment. And then if you really want to keep going over the top, a little bit of black salt inside each one of the petals, right? Because it holds it. It's like a little cut to hold a little extra black salt for protection. Can't have enough black salt. And always I just, because it's yum. And then of course you don't want to discard the rest of your rose in any way, so it's kind of cool to leave it. I mean, you could scatter your petals all over, but like kind of leaving her decapitated, incapacitated. Yeah. Thank you so much, you guys. Yeah, I put blue in my hair for the first time with my purple, and I thought it made it kind of pop a little bit. But I was sharing that it stained everything in its holy path. But yeah, with my blue shawl, it kind of picks up the blue a little bit. But I have to say I'm quite in love with the blue. Probably will do that again. Now, this is feeling fairly complete. Since one of you is, the other thing I wanted to tell you, and I had these here for this purpose, again, just to show you, because one of my favorite stones, and if you get this new book, which you really need to, this is Crystalpedia, which is my 4th book. It's available for pre-order. It's an encyclopedia of more than 180 stones. If you get that new book, there's a section in there called the Activation 11, and it is the 11 new stones that I think need to be in your collection once you have the Synergy 12. And one of them is apophyllite. Apophyllite is one of my favorite stones on the planet. I love apophyllite. It's a member of the zeolite family. It only comes from India. And we had these pieces aura treated. So these are custom for SG. And one of the things that's really cool about apophyllite, people confuse it with quartz because it almost looks like it's terminated like quartz. Do you see? But it's not quartz. It's an entirely different stone. And it really is for ascension, for elevating consciousness. And it's even more powerful than selenite for that white light of protection that we always talk about with selenite. It's even more powerful. So if you have a piece or two of this, what I'm going to tell you is at night it illuminates. You can see it from across the room here with no filter. It will completely illuminate your Samhain altar. So I would put a piece here just for that pop, that flash of light. And I would put a piece here on the other side of your grid. We have little baby ones. Those are the bigger ones. We also have these little cuties too. Aren't they sweet? And aura treatment I love so much. I had never really worked with aura treated apophyllite before we did it ourselves. I wasn't sure because the aura treatment is extreme, right? It's done at high temperatures. So I was like, wow, will apophyllite sustain it? Why do we do the aura treatment? It's a great question from Fire Magic. So here's my 2 cents on aura, okay? First of all, anything I can get aura, I get it because I love it. I'm shameless about loving sparkly, pretty things. It's the little girl in me, but I just love anything sparkly. But the aura treatment is actually a very specific alchemy of metals. Usually it's iridium, titanium, and gold. And those metals have their own metaphysical properties. And it truly is an alchemical process to make aura treated stones. The metals are bonded to the stone at a high temperature. The reason aura stones are expensive is sometimes it breaks the stone. So when a stone comes out, you know you've got a really tough crystal on your hands. So I think, my personal opinion is, you get all the metaphysical properties of iridium, titanium, and gold, which is perseverance and strength and abundance and manifestation, plus whatever the properties of the stone are, which in the case of apophyllite is ascension, higher order spirit connection, deeper states of awareness and meditation. For me, apophyllite is the #1 stone to work with if you're trying to work with what we call theta state consciousness. So there's 3 states of human consciousness primarily. There's more than that. But the ones that we work with on a regular basis are beta, alpha, and theta. So when you're listening to me here talk, if you're really focused, you're in beta state. If you're in class, you're in beta state. If you start daydreaming, you go to alpha. And if you go into deep meditation, you go into theta. Theta is where your body heals and your central nervous system relaxes. Okay? Then you can go into delta, which is deep sleep, right? So beta, alpha, theta, delta. Apophyllite helps you to drop into theta state more rapidly. So does barite. There are a few crystals in that category of what we call the theta family. So anyway, long answer to a really great short question. That's why I like the aura treated stones so much. I'm not good at short answers to things, but I call it an occupational hazard. I'm still a recovering professor. And as a professor, people wanted me to give them long answers to short questions. Now sometimes people are like, no, I wanted like 3 words. And I'm like, I don't know how to do 3 words. So I give you 903 words. Does it affect the energy? I think it intensifies the energy. I really do. I'm not the only one who feels that way. So yeah, but do I love it plain? Yes. Do I love it in green? I do. Do I love it aura treated? Give it to me. I've never met an apophyllite I didn't like. What's my favorite kind of apophyllite? Well, I'm so glad you asked. The stalactites. They do. They grow from like the top of the cave and they hang down and they slice them off and they look like big apophyllite shooters. And I like it. Yeah, you know, listen, if you liked short answers, you probably wouldn't be watching my channel. I talk too much, but it's an occupational hazard. So with that, I'm just checking to see if there's any more questions. I wanted to thank you, honestly, for coming to this event tonight, and I hope you really sincerely enjoyed it. I want to invite you, if you love learning about crystals, I teach tomorrow a class called Crystalpedia. It's actually named after the book, and it starts at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So we have a fantastic class ahead for you tomorrow, and I hope you're looking forward to it. So if you want to learn more about our online programs, lots of ways to do that. The bio on Instagram. You can also go to sagegoddess.com/livingmagic, and you can learn about our online programs, because I actually teach every week, but Crystalpedia, you can take it as a standalone crystal class, which is kind of fun too. And we're going to be learning a lot tomorrow. And then please pre-order Crystalpedia. It's an amazing book. You can find it anywhere you shop for books online. And it's also being translated into other languages. It's available throughout the United Kingdom, thanks to Hay House, who became my UK and Commonwealth distributor, and super happy to work with the folks at Hay House. It's published everywhere else by Penguin Random House, Rodale Harmony, so I'm really honored. I have great publishers. So thanks for being here. And then, we'll see you in class tomorrow. Again, that's Crystalpedia starting at 3 p.m. You can shop all the way through tomorrow at midnight for anything you've seen here tonight in our Sow-wen section with code SHADOW for 24% off. And then again, if you put the word skull in your notes, one of you is going to take him home and he's going to go have a happy new experience with you. Let me see if there's any other questions before I sign off with you. But what a pleasure it was to be with you tonight. Did you like this, by the way? Feedback time. Wouldn't it be fun to do this again with our Yule altar? Such a different vibe with Yule. You know what I mean? It's all about winter and rest and peace. I'm imagining like white roses and snowbirds and maybe even some of that fun fake snow. And we've never done an altar setup party. This was kind of a new concept, so we thought, wouldn't it be fun to get everybody together? And it gives me a chance to teach you and also show you some things sometimes from my practice that I'm like, oh, you know, we don't get to do that often enough or talk often enough. And sometimes, oh, I'm glad you liked it. We'll do it again. And sometimes, you know, I show you things, right, like how to clear energy and how to use certain tools, but in a 1 hour ceremony, we don't always have that time to really slow down and go, okay, what direction should this go in, or how do you clear off your charcoal to make more space to burn your herbs? So, and that way you'll kind of know what to start to gather, right? Remembering earth, air, fire, water. So you're anchoring the cardinal directions. Fresh flowers are just always a plus. I love fresh flowers. I mean, the truth is, not right now actually, but this is an exception. This week I've just been really busy. I always have fresh flowers in my kitchen. Now I don't buy expensive fresh flowers. I tend to buy like carnations and daisies and things that last a long time. One of my local markets has chamomile flowers and they just last forever. Or I'll pick like fresh rosemary from my garden and just keep fresh herbs in the kitchen. But I think it's really good to have something living and alive around you in addition to plants. And I very much believe in having life around you and in your space. And I don't believe in waiting for other people to buy you flowers. I have the same philosophy about jewelry. But you should buy yourself flowers. One of my friends, who's such a beautiful soul, her mantra is don't wait until people die to buy them flowers. So I've always believed that too, like give people flowers. How do you keep your altars pet friendly? For me, it's about training. I mean, with dogs, that's a no, right? I used to have a little collar when Pax was very small, and it beeped. I don't believe in like the vibrating things or other things, but it would beep. I don't know, he doesn't need it now. But if he would go near the altar, it would go beep. He would go, oh, I shouldn't do that. Beep. That's just a big no for me. And also, at home, I keep my crystal room door closed. I will tell you, Smudgy has never touched a thing. And I have feathers in my crystal room. I have all kinds of things that you would think would make cats crazy. And he just does not go near it. So I don't know if it's just because Smudgy's the best cat on the planet and he just is so respectful. But I'll tell you, Paxton was kind of like, hey now. And then I was like, hey, no is the word. So, but yeah, I think you can train your dogs not to touch your things. And if your cat has no boundaries, then Grandpa Smudge needs to come spend some time with your cat. Also, Smudgy just doesn't like to move, so it's like going from here to there is just a big effort. So he'll look like, and he'll be like, that would require getting up. Which I love about him. Yeah, they tell him no. So, anyway, something to think about. A friend of mine told me there's like a poopy spray that you can put on things that dogs don't like. I never tried that, but like it just smells like you, as a human, you can't smell it, but it's like smells really poopy to animals. So, and you're seeing some cool suggestions in the feed too. Just get a lazier cat. You know what I mean? Where it's just a whole bunch of trouble to go over there and touch that feather. It's not worth it. It's at least 10 feet. Maybe 7. And it's like, gosh, that's just asking a lot. Yeah, I wanted to see if we could move anything else over to the section, Chris-Anne. I just don't know. Maybe they weren't able to for some reason. You know what I mean? I ask for the sun, moon, and stars sometimes. Anyway, well, cheers, everybody. Loved having all these side conversations with you. It was like hanging out with good friends today, so thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel before you go. If you're there, if you're watching on sagegoddess.com, isn't that cool? That you can watch off of our main website too. But I will be live on YouTube for most of our events this year, so it's good just to subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss anything. All right, y'all. And thank you to Team SG behind the scenes. They worked very hard to put everything together today. I want to say a special big thanks to Jared, who really worked tirelessly to make sure that everything was in place, and to our product team, and to Karen behind the scenes, and everybody here at Team SG works together to make these events beautiful for you. So glad you were here. All right, I will see you in class tomorrow. Crystalpedia starts at 3 p.m. Pacific time, and see you then. And then we get to play with all that on November 1st.